Yeah, we are now.
You're listening to the Guts and Glory MMA podcast.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Guts and Glory MMA podcast. I'm Liam Oak Griffin. I'm joined as always by Mr. Paul O.D. And on the other side of the table this week, we have our two professional fighters, Mr. Pa, the Leech Lihan, and Mr. Ryan, the Hulk Spillane. So we've got a lot of stuff going on, guys. So let's be getting on with it.
I want to fight with Chuck. But
Leave me alone.
I think he just blew his wad there.
All of the
Anderson
buttons.
Silva, you absolutely suck.
All right, so we're kind of struggling here because we've got another new setup again, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
Wasn't that like 4 or 5 weeks in a row there? You got that spot on and you fucked up again there now.
Well, no, look, to be fair, look, we've got a brand new TV. We've got 4 on the desk. We've got like 4 channels going here at the same time. So
The pressure got to you.
The pressure is there. Yeah. So, right, what are we talking about?
So we're going to look at the 3 cards over the weekend. We'd Combate Global, PFL 7, and we had Bellator 264. And we're going to open up the comments section as well. So we're going to do a live Q&A with the two lads whenever you want to send in your messages or questions. And we'll pitch it to the two lads here.
Yeah, so for anybody that's watching in, you have the comment section on your screen right now. So at the moment, it's got nothing on it.
Nobody with us.
Nobody at all.
One of the Doucette brothers will jump on in a minute for sure.
Yeah, well, there's 3 people watching now, so they're just stalking us at the moment. But look, we'll kind of start away anyway, and as soon as the questions come in, then we can start feeling them to the boys. So, right, what do you want to talk about first, Paul?
Can we talk about how you were absolutely so wrong with your call for Everett Cummins or whatever his name was?
I mean, we can. I'd rather not, but
Submission. What was it? Second round submission you were going with, wasn't it?
I didn't pick a round for him. I picked John
Submission.
Salter for a second round submission.
But you picked Cummins by submission.
Yeah, I thought.
And how long did the fight last?
Around 20 seconds.
Yeah. So Ryan was spot on with his little sus bit of research and his record.
The worst part is you armed me with the knowledge before I made my decision, and I still got it wrong. So it was just the blame only lies with me. But there's just a couple of pieces of news that happened during the week that I wanted to look at. Did you see the back and forth between DC and Conor McGregor?
Yeah, I did. I seen the bits of it. Yeah,
It's just what is he playing at now? Like I get it. It's the gimmick. You're having a go and you're picking on people. I don't think DC's the guy that's gonna take that with a pinch of salt. I think if DC sees him, he confronts him.
Did DC actually catch up with Sugar Sean O'Malley? Was it Sugar Sean that was mouthing off at him previously, and he said he doesn't play, and he caught up with him in the audience or something? Was that him?
No, that was Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.
And he went face to face with John Paul. Or with Jake Paul.
He went up to him because that one of the UFC, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was the Jorge Masvidal one and Usman. It was that UFC, I think, in Florida.
Exactly, yeah. And he went face to face with him, and he said, "All right, talk all the shit you want now when I'm right here." Like, I don't know. He doesn't strike me as the guy that you want to be running your mouth to, kind of. Yeah. Because he will approach you.
Oh, absolutely. DC has the biggest balls there is. Like, it'll go right up to you. Like,
I don't think Conor's the fella to back down either if he's going to be approached by anyone.
Yeah, that's the Irish blood as well. Like,
yeah. So it's a strange one. I don't know. I think look, he's keeping his name relevant regardless. He'll always do that, but just struck me as an odd one to be picking on DC of all people. And he said some nasty shit about him as well, calling him a fat mess and all
what
this.
What did he say? I didn't see it at all.
Said he was drunk at the conference or for the fucking fight.
For the day before the fight when they were doing their fighter interviews, so he was saying, you're at work and you're drunk, you're a fat mess, you're getting out of shape, look at the state of your body, everything we see you, you're bigger, all this carry on. Yeah, it's having a go at him personally, and DC, I don't know, I reckon DC walks up on him the next time they see him. But then again, Conor doesn't go to that many events anymore, does he?
Yeah, I don't think they'll ever get a chance to meet again.
Nah, Conor would have too many boys around him, I'd say.
Yeah, that's true as well. He'll fly over a jet again.
Yeah.
It'll be DC versus Charlie Ward.
Do you see, speaking of Sugar, do you see he's up against potentially Frank Yeager?
Is he?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, news kind of dropped with a rumour about 2 of them going ahead.
So the only thing I've seen on Sugar, and I did want to mention it, was Sugar came out this week and said, why would I want to fight a ranked fighter for the money I'm on now?
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah,
and I just thought the kind of the narrative all along is that he's not been given the tough fights by the promotion, and he's asking for the tough fights, and now he's coming out and saying, why the fuck would I fight tough guys and ranked guys when
He's like, I'm making money right now. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point? Like,
he's just making himself look a bit shit there? But if the Frankie Edgar fight comes along, that's a phenomenal
so
fight. for him.
what rank is Edgar now?
I
I'd
don't
say
know.
he's
Is Edgar ranked?
7 or 8? No, he's up there. No,
Oh yeah, sure. Edgar fought Sandhagen. He lost to
Yeah.
Sandhagen, so he's definitely ranked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
up
he'd be
there.
top 10 probably. Yeah.
So we do have some comments coming in, so I'm just going to put them on the screen there. So Dean McCarthy, beans on toast, lads. Absolutely, 100%. Quilchid Barra, any chance of another fight in Amsterdam, Ryan? Need an excuse for a holiday?
I'll leave that up to you. No,
Well, all right.
can we
We can.
say it then? Go on. I'm not saying it.
We won't say anything for the moment.
Okay, cool.
So, look, we're Quilcher, we're in negotiations for a couple of different options at the moment. So, we will keep our cards close to our chest for the moment. But there's definitely chances to go support Ryan
Of a holiday somewhere, hopefully.
of a holiday
Yeah.
somewhere. Yeah, definitely. And November is probably the date. So we'll leave it at that for now.
Very good.
Mr. McCarthy, about time Sugar is fighting a top name fighter. He basically said he's not getting paid enough to fight ranked fighters, which is a ridiculous thing to fucking say, regardless of all the money, regardless of the money fight, the biggest of the best. I'm shit at reading comments. Did I
No,
mention
no,
that
you
before?
read that perfectly. That's just how it's typed.
Okay, needs to be tested big time. Right.
Yeah, and look, he's getting all the pay-per-view cards. He seems to be that opening fight or second fight on all the pay-per-view cards. He's obviously a draw for the promotion, and the way the Chris Matinho thing happened, and he kind of exploded after that again. Even though Chris Matinho,
Yeah,
got a
he
good
exploded
run.
after it as well.
Yeah, massively. But
We were saying that in the Pro-Am though, like it was a women's fight for him, like jumping in
Yeah, but
that short notice, like
we didn't think he was a fucking zombie either.
no.
So Sean O'Malley, he does need to take on a big opponent. 'Cause everyone's asking for it now. The promotion need to put someone decent in front of him.
But I thought the way Sugar wrote it, it was more that he was just happy where he is right now, fighting unranked guys for the money he's on. I don't
Yeah.
think it was a whole situation where he didn't want to go up and fight ranked guys and not getting paid enough. I reckon if the Frankie Edgar fight goes through, he'll get more money for that.
I
Obviously.
think Sean O'Malley's on decent money right now.
Absolutely. So I think he's happy where he is fighting bums for
Yeah, yeah.
money. Do you know, kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's where I'm kind of reading it.
Yeah. There's a few people that have done that before. I remember was it Jacob Kilburn we had on the podcast? I think it was Jacob Kilburn, and he mentioned the same thing. Why would he go for the contract that he was on? Why would he go and be calling out top 15 guys when he gets a couple of wins under his belt, bigger contract, then he calls them out for real money? Like,
Yeah. No,
Interesting.
absolutely.
So just for anybody that is in the comment section, we do have Pat and Hulk in for Q&A section tonight. So if you have questions for them, shout them in. And for anybody who hasn't commented in yet, get stuck in there with your comments. Start typing, and we'll put the questions to the lads. Have we? So let's break down a small bit. Pat, this is the first time I've seen you since you landed back in the country. What's the story, boy?
tan motherfucker.
I know he's almost black. Like, have you any bit of Spanish for us now?
Nah, nothing. I was told to learn a few words though, so
You're going to have to learn a few words over there, yeah.
to get them Mexican fans on my side. After I beat this Mexican.
There is a relationship between the Irish and the Mexicans, though. There's kind of a mutual respect there.
Is there?
There is. They're very similar people. They've got that fighting spirit. They like a drink. They're both kind of wild. There's kind of an unwritten thing there that they're very similar people. There's a relationship there. They get along, is what I'm saying. You're obviously not going to get along with your opponent on September 10th, but what do you know about him?
Not much. He fought on Game Breads the bare knuckle MMA show, and he got cut open a good bit.
Yeah.
He's got a big ugly scar on his forehead too, so I'm gonna try
You'll
to
be
open
aiming
that
for
up
that, so,
again. Now he's a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's like a Thai boxer kind of striker.
Yeah, I saw he has about 20 fights or 30 fights in Muay Thai or something like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we don't even need to look at records. All we need to do is look at the last 5 fights, and there's nothing there that really kind of screams, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
Sure,
no,
Pat went to the Combate tournament as the underdog.
Exactly.
Debut fighter fighting all experienced pros and made them all look like chums.
Yeah.
that's the IMAFs and all the amateur fights feel like paying off, you know.
Well, myself and Liam discussed that. It's the experience you had at amateur was a higher level than these guys were fighting at pro.
Yeah, I knew that going in as well. Like I was completely confident because I actually had more fights than all of them,
Yeah.
even though they were like what 12 and
10 fight pros, yeah.
whatever. Yeah, So
Very good. And the guy you're fighting has 6 fights, I believe, as a pro. Now you're saying he has a
He's
decent
4-2
Muay
and
Thai
then
record.
30 Muay Thai fights.
So he's a bit of experience, but mostly in Muay Thai.
yeah.
The only thing that I see about this guy is that he's like I haven't seen him being stopped that easily. You know,
he's tough. He's very tough. Like he was bossed up in the last fight and he didn't quit. Like so.
Yeah,
he's a tough fiend. But
so we need to get ready for a 3-round war and still be out on top of it. You know, so it's be a good test anyway. But you're like cardio wise, you're pretty confident anyway.
Yeah.
And this fight is at featherweight as opposed to lightweight.
It's catch weight, I think.
It's
what is it?
150.
150, yeah.
But you're more comfortable. Well, you're comfortable at lightweight, clearly.
Lightweight
But
was easy. Like I was on weight the day before, and it was.
But you feel like you'd have a little bit of an advantage if you start moving down to 145, 150.
Yeah, definitely. If I do it if I do it slowly and get down properly, and not, I think I feel better when I don't have to do like a big water cut. I'd rather give up a small bit of size and whatever, and just be
To feel
fresh.
fresh, yeah.
Because my last few fights, I've done that. I've been really close to the weight right beforehand, and I've won every single one of them. So I think that's a big confidence. Like in my head, I feel like I can like push a lot harder and everything when I'm in there.
I think it's definitely like the I don't know who did the research on this, but they were talking about fighters who cut a lot of weight and come down. Apparently, the bigger fighters have a losing record against fighters that are kind of in and around their own weight class. Look, I don't see the sport moving that way anytime soon unless something changes with the weight regulations. But do you think it's something some fighters should be looking at?
Yeah, well, I mean, at the moment, or up until now, it's been a case of we just follow what's gone before us. And it just seems that everybody's cutting weight, so we all cut weight because we're doing it because we didn't know any better. But as you say, the research is showing, like the large data shows that cutting massive amounts of weight definitely depletes your performance, and not just on weigh-in day, but for up to a week afterwards. Yeah. So you're fighting with a higher blood volume, or a lower blood volume. So your heart is having to work harder to pump soup around your body, basically, as opposed to blood. Your brain fluid is depleted, your spinal fluid is depleted, your glycogen levels are depleted. Everything is depleted, and it's not that you're going to get it back within 30 hours of the weigh-in. It just doesn't happen. You're going to be in trouble for 3 or 4 days afterwards. So you're definitely fighting depleted. And then if you just take anecdotally all of the people who have challenged for double champ status, the ones that went up in weight all won, and the ones that came down in weight all lost. And we're talking about UFC here.
Not all won, but the majority of the winners were ones that moved up. Actually, there isn't actually any that moved down a weight class that won, unless did Randy win the heavyweight before he won the light heavyweight? Irrelevant, because they were different weight classes then anyway. Yeah, and also he wasn't reigning champ as he moved down. Yeah. It was kind of like he took a break, and he was never a heavyweight. He was never a heavyweight anyway. He was just fighting big fat guys anyway, you know. So, but I think the weight cut, and Ryan, you're kind of walking around on weight now as things stand as well, so you feel a bit better in that regard as well.
Yeah, like we've had fights there where I've walked in and I've cut like 3 or 4 kilos just on the day or something like that, like, and you do feel shit, like going to that fight I felt incredible. Like sure, we had fucking a huge meal the day before the weigh-ins, and then before the fight, huge meal as well. Like it felt incredible. Like I wasn't cutting calories. Woke up, ate what I wanted, it was all eating just to fuel the body. Yeah, and the other man that we need to check with on water cutting is Mr. Avenue Fares.
Yeah.
He had a tough cut. I mean, like I was getting phone calls from Avenue there the day of the weigh-ins, and he was literally screaming down the phone at me because he was panicking. Like how is it not coming out? Like as in the water, like he was in the bath 4 or 5 times in a row, and he's like, I only lost like 0.2 of a kilo after like an hour, and I'm like, yeah, you're dehydrated now. You've lost 5 kilos in water. There's no more to come out. Maybe if you squeeze and like lift your traps a bit or something like that, you know. But and then you can see it in his performance that was a very, very, even though he won the fight and he had a great performance, he made good he made great decisions and he dominated. But that was a slower Avenue than we're used to seeing. That was a more sluggish Avenue than we're used to seeing. For the people
that watched Avenue for the first time and last week, they'll be wondering what's a faster performance of Avenue, because he was still going forward for the 3 rounds.
Oh, he was dominant. Yeah.
He literally just overhead pressed your man and threw him on the.
Yeah, he landed a couple of
That's all that
massive throws.
Olympic lifting he's doing.
Yeah,
He snatched the man.
Snatched him, fucking throw him on the ground, walk away.
he landed him on his neck. The first one as well. It was a
Sure,
bad.
you got disqualified for doing that one time in a kickboxing show.
In the K1 fight, yeah. That was Armin Hegschig.
Yeah.
Armin's representing Hungary in the IMAFs this year in Prague. So, but we do have a couple of comments, so let's get back to them there. So, Mr. Aaron Larkin, who goes by Christopher Larkin for some reason, how do you find the progression from amateur MMA to pro MMA? So, will we start with you, Hulk?
I didn't find that much different. Like the rounds felt kind of. I know it's going from 3 to 5 was a big jump. Didn't really feel that long or very short or anything. Obviously, you can throw elbows.
Yeah,
I like throwing elbows, and Pat obviously loved throwing elbows. I would throw like 2 or 3. Like he threw about 40. The heel hooks, all that kind of stuff. I didn't really find a big change. Just kind of it's now more of a career rather than when it was amateur. It was kind of I was just having fun. Now it's more of a job. It was kind of the big kind of progression I kind of saw.
It was like natural progression. It felt right. It was the right time to do it. Like,
do you think the time off beforehand for you made it that kind of bit more seamless because you knew it was coming for a while? You were able to prepare yourself, and you both ready to turn pro before the lockdown started. So you kind of that year or 18 months to kind of prepare your minds and to know that the next one was going to be pro anyway.
Yeah, no, lockdown definitely helped. More training involved, and then obviously when lockdown hit, it kind of proved people that trained wanted it more, and people that just kind of got fat and got lazy didn't really want it. Like,
yeah, although I was fat beforehand, I just got fatter.
Obviously talking to us.
I think so, yeah.
Aimed at
you lost weight during the fucking lockdown.
You turned into an athlete, boy.
I just did a fat lead.
I went the opposite way.
kind of fit, kind of fat.
Ben Doucette, oi fellas, the best Doucette brothers in the house, the one with the killer mustache anyway. No, we still like the other one better. Quill to the bar, what was Florida like, Pa?
It was a mad gaff, man. The amount of money there, it was crazy. Like, there's just Lamborghinis just everywhere, Rolls Royces all over the gaff, and there's just, I was surprised with, I didn't know that there was that much money in the world. I didn't know that there was that many rich people. Like, in Ireland, you see, like, you might see a nice car, and it's like it's not even that good compared to any of the cars over there. So, and just seeing so many of them, it was just crazy. I was like, fuck, there's a lot of millionaires out there, but
yeah, I wouldn't have thought Miami is an affluent area.
I'd say, yeah.
There's a lot going on there. There's a
a lot of drug money.
If you go to, that's probably it. Yeah.
Didn't Trump have a house down there as well? No.
He's in Mar-a-Lago. It's in Florida. It's in Florida,
yeah.
but Miami is the major city down the bottom.
There's a lot of
I
cocaine
mean,
down there.
I don't think those Haitians have much money out there.
The Haitians, maybe.
Yeah, whatever the fuck. My clever pronunciation. We do have to ask you the same question. Turning from amateur to pro MMA, what was the transition like for you?
Completely natural. Like, I didn't think it was like in my head. There was no change. Like, it was just I'm allowed to do certain things now, and the gloves are. I didn't even think about the gloves. It didn't even make a difference. It was the same thing. I was just going in fighting, but I was just more focused because I knew it was it actually meant everything now. So it wasn't like an amateur fight where it doesn't really matter if you win or lose. You just go out and give it a go.
Yeah.
But so I was just more focused, I think.
I did want to ask you as well, the fact that the first fight was 1 round. What's the headspace going into that? Because you kind of have to put it all out in the line, but somewhere in the back of your head, you kind of think, right, I have to leave something back maybe for, I've got another 3-round fight down the road tonight if all going well. Like.
Well, the way I looked at it is if I don't beat the first guy, I don't get to fight again. So I might as well give 100% and then just worry about the next fight when I get to it. That's the way I was looking at it. So if it had come down to it, I would have given everything in that.
Yeah.
You know.
Very good.
Yeah. Derek Hickey says there's only one fat lad in the gym. Fat lead, even. Fat
I'm
lead.
presuming he's talking about himself.
I think so. I think so. Yeah, I don't have any questions.
What we can do is we can move on to the cards from this weekend just gone. And if there's any more questions come up, then we can have a look back at it and kind of bounce in between if there's a few
So,
more people
Pal,
jump on for questions.
what's your opinion on the fights of the weekend?
I didn't come prepared at all. I got a text off the boys. They were like, "Yeah, come for an interview or for a podcast." I was like, "Cool, no bother." And I didn't ask any more questions. And now I'm here. And they all have like the cards up from the weekend, and I didn't even know there was cards on. Like,
you can bluff most of it. That's what we do most weeks anyway. So it's all right. Look, we'll start with Bellator 264, and we did our Pro Am predictions, and I went with John Salter in the main event. I just felt there was something in me felt like the wrestling and the jits would give Mousasi problems, but clearly not.
Didn't. He just looked again like he didn't. Like Gegard has his whole career of just not looking like he wants to fight.
Yeah.
And then just smashes guys up.
Yeah, like he's way too laid back in there. He looks like he's too comfortable almost for a fight, but he's able to kind of make that work for him.
Do you think the fight changes now with Van der Voort? Do you think Van der Voort beats him? Or do you think it's going to be the exact same? Because Salter and Van der Voort are pretty much the same skill set, just Van der Voort's a bit better. I think.
The difference is, I think, obviously Salter's jiu-jitsu is better, but Van der Voort's more aggressive with the takedowns and chaining them together. And when he gets on top, he throws hands down and stuff like that. But, look, I underestimated Mousasi in this one, so if I was going into that fight, if I was watching it next week,
you thought he was over. You thought he was kind of on his way out, like, but he's not.
I thought mentally he checked out a little bit.
I
thought that when he moved to Bellator first day, but obviously the guy isn't.
No.
Yeah, I can see him holding that belt until he retires, possibly. Yeah.
There's no one really there, kind of the top 5 that can take it off him now.
Right now, no.
Unless they sign a big name, someone that maybe becomes a free agent from UFC or something like that. Like,
didn't they recently sign a Dagestani to the middleweight division? He made his debut.
Maybe from like ACB or something like that. Maybe I think I saw something like that.
So unless
again,
he's a good few fights away, even at that. So
yeah,
it's a hard one to call.
Can we talk about Davion Franklin and Everett Cummins?
Yeah, we can. But were you that impressed with Davion Franklin?
No, but because the opponent wasn't that impressive either. Like, you know,
he was shocking.
But like, that's the sus record there. You were like, oh, he had 15 fights. 15 fights is hard, but like, when 15 fights is nothing when you're fighting fat guys out of a chipper shop, like, you know.
Yeah, did you get to see this guy walk out? You didn't see it at all.
No, I saw nothing.
Even go on to his
but I'm going to
photo,
go on to his record, because Ryan was talking about how his record might have been padded.
Oh, absolutely padded. Like,
all right, let's go to the beginning. Right, so he has a few amateur fights.
Forget about those.
Right,
but watch. Look at all the round ones there. Look at all the guys he's fighting.
All debut guys for his first 4 fights. Okay, fair enough.
0-1, 0-1.
0-1. Okay, when he's 4-0 and 5-0.
Yeah.
This guy 3-4 when he's 6-0. Okay, that's not
yeah, but
terrible.
It's a round 1 choke he wins by.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah. This is so sorry to hear this one.
And that guy as well.
Go on to his page, because his page is very funny.
He'd come back from
that's
a different guy again.
Whoa, okay. Look, your man's record. Scroll back up there. He's 9-23.
Yeah, there's a couple of sus dudes on the page, all right, but the thing. I was still armed with that knowledge.
Which fellow were we on about now?
12-7, 2-8.
Wasn't the 8 and 11 guy? Was it? No.
9-11.
No.
Yeah, I think it wasn't. Go on to the 9-11 fella.
This guy, CJ.
No, it wasn't him either. Jesus.
I think it might actually be Ben Beebe. Where's Ben Beebe? Up. Ben Beebe. No,
but he's got a cool photo as well. Fuck.
Yeah, all the guys he's fighting basically are
really cool photos,
and they're just fat dudes that.
Yeah.
But the fight,
so it didn't work out anyway. So
it was. You could tell the second he walked out towards the cage that I'd made a really bad pick. Like.
Oh really? Yeah.
Yeah. He had.
And what about this Davion
Franklin?
Like, what's his?
He's kind of fought nobody's really. It's been all kind of like.
Yeah, he's padding as well. Like, well, no, 5-2. That's a decent record. 6-4 is a decent record.
12-9.
12-9.
Tyler King was a good fight, because Tyler was former UFC fighter as well. Like,
yeah, and he tested him a little bit.
Yeah, but
here's the problem though. Davion finds himself in a division that's light, and he's ranked number 7 or 8 now. Like, he's going to be fighting. He's going to jump from fighting these guys to elite level guys. Very fast.
But he's got a really good skill set. I don't think that would be a huge jump for him.
I think it is a big jump. I think if you put him in there now with a Tim Johnson or a Matt Mitrione, but
he still has a few fights to get to those guys. Maybe like who's number 5 or 6 right there now. Like, there's not like they're not big names, but they're like that Russian
Moldavsky.
Yeah,
Tough fight.
tough,
Fights
but
out
not
of Federer's
huge.
gym. Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I think he needs 5 or 6 fights before he starts fighting for a title personally, or at least see him tested a couple of times.
Yeah,
But yeah, look,
give him Jake Hager next. And Jake Hager will be blow him. Or
I don't think Jake Hager fights again.
Oh no, absolutely, he'll fight definitely.
He's too happy now.
I'll
with
give
his
him
game.
Steve Mowry.
So here's the rankings from heavyweight. So you have Ryan Bader at the top still.
Steve Mowry would be a good one.
But Stephen Mowry, even at that, he's another guy that's young, hungry, 9-0.
True, but it's 2 guys young enough. Like,
Yeah.
even if you give him into Vassell, like, that's not a huge fight. Like, you know.
Or Terrell Fortune.
That's 2 contenders then knocking each other out early. You know what I mean?
But there's three contenders there, and then you have a lot of guys who are probably, you would argue, past their best.
Tim Johnson's not.
Tim Johnson's fucking older than me, like. Settle down now, Ryan. Anyone that's older than me is past their best. Anyone that's Liam's age is past their best. Yeah, I don't know. Look, he's probably going to be a contender there for a long time, but he does need a few fights before he gets up there.
Then the next fight we got put.
Yeah,
right
both
back
of
in
us
our
got
box.
this wrong.
Yeah.
Is this the
If you go up.
So Stotts versus Magomedov.
Like when Magomedov signed for Bellator, I thought he'd be champion within 3 fights. I just didn't see anyone stopping him. And we were kind of talking about this on Thursday that if you look at the records, 18-1, 16-1 going into the fights, and the only guy Tiger had lost to was Peter Yan. The only guy Stotts had lost to was Dvalishvili. So they're right there on their kind of level. But for some reason, Magomed's just looked more impressive. So,
but would you put that down to class as well of like fights he's gotten? Like,
and different opponents here. Like he's got opponents that he's going to look better against stylistically, whereas Stotts' wrestling is what impressed me most. The fact that he was able to keep the fight standing, and Magomed just kind of looked a bit.
He showed a real big chink in his armor.
Yeah. If you can keep that guy standing, he's very beatable.
Did you see that Scott Croker tweeted that he'd like to see a bantamweight Grand Prix?
No, Rafi and Stotts said it first.
Oh yeah,
and then they kind of put up a tweet about it, kind of asking, "Would you like to see it?"
Yeah.
So it's something that's been mooted now.
It's exciting. You can have Gallagher on one side, you can have Brian Moore on the other side,
and then you have Sergio Pettis and Rafi and Stotts because they're teammates on opposite sides as well.
That's a cool tournament, like.
Yeah, and I mean, it could arguably be a 16-man tournament because there's enough guys at bantamweight to make it interesting.
So just a comment that came in there where we were talking on the Bellator stuff. Mr. Greg O'Sullivan, I believe, had his MMA debut on Saturday. Let us know how that went as well, Greg. I know I know the result, but put it into the comments anyway. Pat, were you excited that you got offered another fight straight after the 2 wins, or would you have liked a bit of time off?
No, I was delighted. I asked for it. After the fight, I was talking to Campbell and I asked him to let me stay in Miami and get me another fight. Because I never won that much money in my life, so I wanted to win a bit more.
Double down.
I bet it all on myself again and just No, I'm happy. Like I've got no injuries and I haven't been able to fight for almost 2 years, so because of COVID. So I'll fight every weekend if I can. Like.
And is the goal to get another one then before the end of the year?
At least one more. Yeah. Well. If they're offering me fights every month or whatever, I'll be delighted. Like I'll go over and.
Did you want to fight the week after?
Yeah, I asked them. Yeah.
After 2 fights in one night, I mean, you might as well.
Sure. 2 fights. It only went 2 rounds, really. Not even 2 rounds. So.
Yeah. Sorry, did you see the tweets from the Italian guys as well?
Oh yeah, I seen one of those. Yeah.
What they say?
So
they're talking shit about you.
No, he was giving out. Paz getting worked up here.
That fella was crying when he lost. That's all I'm saying. Backstage, he was throwing chairs.
All the shade is going out now.
Look, he was throwing fucking chairs in his dressing room, snapping in Italian.
Stop.
The hands are all like. So
every featherweight and lightweight in Italy is going to be fucking calling you out tomorrow. No, but so his teammates or his gym were kind of giving out to Combate and asking, how was a 1-round fight a professional fight?
Yeah.
And they were saying like, oh, this L shouldn't go on his record and that kind of carry on.
But he accepted it, like.
I wouldn't mind. He didn't make it to the end of the first round.
Yeah, he got stopped.
Who gives a fuck if it was a 1-round or 3-round fight? You got stopped inside 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Doesn't make a fucking difference. It's an L, like.
But he agreed to it, like. You can't just agree to something and then when you lose, just not like the result.
That's
like,
what I said as well.
You signed the contract, like, that was what you're getting yourself into, you know? You can't be unhappy with the results, like.
And I think what's confusing people is they look at the Ultimate Fighter and the fact that it's a 2-round fight and they're considered exhibition. But that's because they're not paid to fight. They're paid to be on a reality TV show. They're not paid to fight. The minute you're paid to fight, it's a professional fight. That's how it works. Like, doesn't matter if it's 1 round. You see, there's an Irish fighter going in. Oh no, sorry, it's Chris Fishgold is going fighting on some spurious tournament over in the UK.
Oh, he's fighting the Kazakhstani guy, yeah.
Yeah, he's fighting opponent and knees to the head are allowed.
Lovely.
And first round submissions are allowed. Or second round, that's 5-minute submissions are allowed.
I remember there was a show over in
Bananas
England one
rolls.
time, and it was like round 1 is kickboxing, then you go back to your corner
Change gloves,
change glove, and then it's striking MMA, so you can't take downs. And then the third round, if it gets third round, then you can take down and do submissions.
Yeah, it's
It was like Bully
fucking
Beatdown. Do you remember Bully Beatdown? Did you ever get...
You're on
talked
about,
to me
you're on
about this a
about this
couple of
again.
times.
Yeah. He talks to us a lot.
I
now.
still haven't seen it though.
It's a fucking phenomenal show, like.
Yeah.
So just for anybody who hasn't seen it, it was on MTV years ago, and it was Mayhem Miller was the host of it, and basically people used to write in and say, "Oh, this dude is bullying me in school. He's bullying everybody in school. He needs to be taken down a peg or two." And Mayhem Miller would rock on up to the school, get the bully, and say, "Right, you think you're tough? Come on in here and fight one of my friends, and we'll give you 10 grand. And every time you tap out, you lose 1 grand." And we'll see how much money you have by the end of the fight. And they do 1 round of just kickboxing, and then the second round is MMA or grappling or whatever. And 9 times out of 10, and like the bully ends up with no money at the end because he ends up tapping 10 times, like, cause it's UFC fighters that he's fighting, like. So it's like Mac Hughes, Chuck Liddell. It's like all of the old school guys around about those about that kind of era around Mayhem when Mayhem Miller was not Mayhem Miller, just Miller.
He was always Mayhem Miller. Let's be
I
fair.
know, but he wasn't. He wasn't.
He wasn't.
shooting up
He
in
wasn't
a-
jail cell Mayhem Miller.
Not
Yeah.
live tweeting the police raiding his house.
Yeah.
No, they found him in a church. He was hiding behind the altar, and he was live tweeting from behind the altar as the police were like
I remember that. Yeah.
were on the megaphone saying, "Come on out, you're surrounded."
Yeah. Do you reckon it? Like, because he was always a bit fucking tapped. Is that CTE or is that just he's not wired right?
It could
lifestyle.
very well be CTE.
Yeah.
But we
Lifestyle
won't
as
know.
well,
Like,
no?
yeah, we won't know. We won't know for another few years. But
Yeah.
we have a few comments again. So Greg, lost my fight to the better fighter, to be fair, but it was a good fight. Didn't give an easy win at all. I can't wait to get in and fight again. So Greg is gonna be Greg did season 6, I think, of Women to Warrior here, but due to COVID, they didn't get their finale. Then he did season 7, and due to COVID, they didn't get to finish the season, so he didn't get a fight then either. So he went down to trials in Mitchelstown and had a scrap down below. Himself and Federico and PK and who was the fourth? One of the other Women to Warrior lads, Eamon. So all the lads had a bit of a scrap.
And was that amateur MMA?
It would have been novice MMA, novice
yeah,
rules.
yeah.
So supposedly semi-contact, but you know how these things go. Like,
Yeah, it's full contact. The minute they start, they're full contact. Like.
yeah, unless you have a really good referee who can control it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there was much control down below this week anyway. From what I saw anyway, there was a load of wins by KOs, and when you're having a semi-contact tournament,
There should be
wins
no
by KOs
KOs.
shouldn't be there. Like, so anyway, Ben Doucette says Stotts looked impressive with all caps on impressive.
So I know we're very biased there because you obviously are going to pick Brian Moore, but throw that out of the question: who wins the Grand Prix?
It's one of those divisions where
It could go anywhere.
but it entirely depends on matchups people get.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I would have thought that Magomedov would have got a title after 3 fights, but he met probably his toughest opposition. If you...
Yeah, like even look at the bantamweight division there, like some big names there, like top 9.
Yeah. I mean, there's some killers in there.
Yeah.
like Leandro Higo got that win against Darian Caldwell not that long ago. And most people would have thought that Caldwell was on that climb up towards the belt again.
Caldwell ranked 10 there, like he's still a tough fight, like
former champion.
Yeah,
there's so many guys there. It depends on the match they get. If they get a favourable matchup in the first and second round,
throw that out of the question. Who are you picking if they do it?
I'd go with Brian Moore.
Yeah,
I have to go with Brian Moore. He's the only one down there that possesses that KO power at bantamweight
and good grappling, good wrestling as well.
So he's a problem for every single one of them. Whereas, if I look at the rest of them, there's certain people will be a bad matchup for them. I think Brian, he's a problem for all of them.
Stats
will be
way higher in my books now. Because going on a fight, I was like, oh, Magomedov will win, but like Stats still is a very impressive opponent. Like, but now
that's it, and you can't take away from the fact that Sergio Pettis as well put on the performance of a lifetime against Juan Archuleta. Looked the best we've ever seen of him,
Stats
even including
Pettis,
his UFC days.
He's going to go on like this all night.
I know.
We'll just have our own conversation.
I do think, just based on what happened with Stotts getting Magomed, I think they were trying to protect. This is me being a conspiracy theorist with my fucking tinfoil hat on. I think Rufus Sport, I think they were trying to protect Sergio a little bit. So I think I would go with Stotts.
Yeah. Speaking of tinfoil hats, talk about your new hat you got off, huh?
Oh yeah, thank you very much for my Combate Global hat.
I never would have gotten it without you.
And we did have Combate Global over the weekend as well. There was an 8 women one night tournament on in the 115 pound division, and
was the same format as Paz tournament.
So the first 2 rounds were one round fights, which again makes it that bit tougher because you get psyched up, and then like you can talk about this better than I can, obviously, but to that break in between fights, is it hard to get the adrenaline back down and then reset yourself?
No, so I knew going into it that I didn't want to get too excited after the first win because I knew I'd have to go straight away again. And we had to have like I think the commission wouldn't allow you to fight after like a half an hour after you've stopped, like so because you cool down or whatever, and then you'd have to go again. So we had to go within a half an hour of finishing the first fight.
Really?
Yeah, so it was loads of time to relax or whatever. But
you go in, you get your medical clearance, and then it's kind of right back to warming up a little bit again, is it?
Yeah, so just stay moving. And then when I find out I'm 5 minutes away, the fight before me that's on, I just shadow box their rounds. Yeah. And then when their fight's over, I'm ready to go and I'm warm.
Yeah, and do you think it would be hard to do that one round back in half an hour, 1 round back in half an hour, then a 3-round fight? Do you think that would make it that much harder if it was an 8-man one night tournament?
Yeah, it definitely would. Like, it's definitely not going to be easier. Like, it's definitely going to be harder, you know. So you're going to be probably more banged
ask
up.
A stupid question.
But I think if you're just if you have your head screwed on and you know that what happened the last one is over and you just got to focus 100% on the next one and not the one after it. I think you'll be good if you're just you have your head screwed on, like.
Fair enough. Yeah, but so she's moved to 6-0 now with that tournament win, or 9-0 I think. Overall, I think that was 8-0.
You were all wrong.
Yeah. She came into it obviously at 5-0. So I mean, damn impressive as well. And that was her Combate debut, or not her Combate debut.
No, she fought back there in 44.
But damn impressive as well to come out. That's one to definitely keep an eye on in the strawweight division. For sure.
As if we needed any more tougher strawweights in the female division like this.
Yeah, it's stacked. And there was a lot of hype around the French girl she was fighting as well. She made it to the final, Claire Lopez. I know that Combate did a couple of promos for her coming into this. You see the level of opponents she's fought before.
Lachana Green. Or Lachana.
And to Danny Nealon there in Bellator. So she's been around the block. She's fought some tough girls. So I think she was probably maybe the favourite going into that. So very impressive for the Mexican girl to pick up a victory there.
100%. No, I love the tournament format. I mean, and can we talk about the fact that again this week that Combate Global ratings are bigger than many of the other promotions that are on, including PFL and Bellator this weekend, I think, again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fuck it.
It's a strange one because I put up that post just before Combate put out their results for the same weekend, the weekend you were fighting on. And I put up the post that UFC got 800,000 plus and Bellator got less than 200,000. And I kind of posed the question that the casual word gets mentioned an awful lot in MMA, but ... and then put up the ratings, basically calling everyone a fucking casual because they didn't tune in for one of the biggest fights Bellator had ever put on against a fairly average UFC card. And the feedback I got from that in the comment section was that in America, it's actually, the UFC is so much more accessible. I didn't realize that Showtime isn't like a household. It wouldn't be like, do you know, the way we have Sky Sports and BT Sports here. Showtime would be like a Premier or, do you know, one of those kind of obscure ones, or Eurosport or something. It's not really as accessible as some of the bigger ones that they have. Whereas Univision are on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
And everybody has Paramount Plus, and they have deals with all different countries in South America as well. So that's the reason that
Obviously, the Air Sports here in Ireland.
Air Sports in Ireland, and talking to Campbell, he's working on a deal. He's going over in October, I believe, working on a deal in the UK as well. So hopefully they're going to be on UK TV screens very shortly. But that's it. Like, if you have accessibility to the viewers, your numbers are going to be high. And that, I'm not trying to say that they're not putting out a great product and that's not why they're getting the numbers, but accessibility is a big part of it, and they're doing fantastic things, but they're still not getting the coverage. Campbell kind of declared war on mainstream MMA media quite recently as well on Twitter. It's very funny to follow.
He loves his Twitter wars, but every time I go on Twitter, it's just Campbell is posting.
Going to town on people. Yeah. He's a funny dude.
So Quilcha is asking us, we'll be watching the IMAF Euros this week. Yeah, I definitely will be tuning in anyway, Quilcha. I mean, the fact that they're on in Russia means that you're going to have some of the guys that are coming out of the IMAF stage going into the UFC and Bellator and Combate and PFL over the next few years. You're going to see them all here because it's their home turf. Kazakhstan are going to be very, very well represented here, and I see Bahrain have a big team as well. So there's going to be a lot of wrestling this week, and there's going to be a lot of future stars coming out there. So
and
I'll definitely be
the
tuning
host
in.
nation can have 3 athletes, which means you'll have plenty of Russians in all divisions.
Lots of Russians.
There'll be loads of V's and Z's.
Yeah.
Ovs.
And Ben Doucette, I totally forgot about your shirt, but you've just reminded me. So
promising him one for the last 3 months.
I know, yeah. I'll send him 2 now.
So there's no Irish team going over to these IMAFs?
No, so what it was is that we did have a small number of people that were interested in going. Gary Rooney being one, Sinead Nolan, a handful of others. There was a few from SPG HQ. But the thing was is that Ireland Russia was on the red list for Ireland.
At the time.
Yeah. So we could get out there from Ireland, but once you came back, you were going to be subject to a mandatory hotel quarantine, and
which is an extra $2,000 on top of the massive expenses to go out there anyway.
And these are amateur athletes, not funded.
Yeah.
Correct. And then also you had, if you were to fly through the UK, you couldn't get to Russia from the UK. You could get back into UK from Russia, but you couldn't get to Russia from the UK because they were red listed in Russia.
The annoying part about this is any other sport, they could travel because there's a sports exemption.
Yep.
But because Ireland doesn't have official status, they wouldn't fit under that, which is bananas to say that any other sports people can travel all over the world and come back and not quarantine, but MMA fighters would have to, even if it's a huge championships like that. Madness.
Yep. But so we'll be watching 100%. We'll be watching. I don't think there's any UK teams on there. I don't think
no, I didn't see
England
UK,
fielded a deal for the Industry either. I think Prague will be the first one where you'll see a lot of the regular teams in there. We have 35 athletes going to Prague from Ireland.
Because wasn't there a thing the Welsh team couldn't send a team over to the youths? I saw something on Twitter with that.
Yeah,
like you were saying that it's like something they couldn't fly out of, Matt, wasn't it?
I don't know what the story was, but they definitely didn't have anybody from the UK at all at the Youth Championships. Like Ireland was there, but there was no other UK. There was no one from Scotland or Wales or England.
I thought they always competed under one banner though.
No, they're
UK.
separate now. The Welsh have their own one now.
Brilliant.
It's pronounced MMA Cum.
No, it's definitely not cum anyway.
It is.
MMA Cum.
Yep.
It's definitely not.
It definitely is.
Say cum with a Welsh accent though. It definitely sounds different.
Cum. I mean, it definitely could have rethought it though.
Well, when I asked him how to pronounce what's on the back of their T-shirt, he says, "Mate, it's cum."
Oh, jeez.
So I was like, okay.
Strange
who
decision.
chose that.
But that's a word though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, exactly.
It means something like
Yeah. It definitely means something.
And it's CYM, is it?
CY or something, isn't it? UM.
Yeah, there's something. Yeah, there's some. Yeah, they've got way too many consonants over in Wales anyway.
Definitely.
They need to get a few vowels. So, PFL.
Have a
Do you want
quick
to talk
look
about
at the
PFL?
PFL card. Yeah, look, we've been saying it all year that the format is phenomenal and that they're putting on great shows. This was the year that everyone kind of was drawn to it because they brought in some big names. They had Anthony Pettis, they had Rory McDonald, they brought in Fabricio Verdum. All of them are now knocked out. But it just goes to show the level of talent that is over there. I think it's
Brendan Loughrane.
and he's the one that's left now, and he's kind of the big hope for the big marquee signings they have. And I do think he's probably still favourite in that featherweight division.
Definitely.
But we had we had the semi-finals of the lightweights and the welterweights on. Magomed Karamov. Sabudusai actually put up more of a fight than I thought he was going to.
We
but
kind of shadowed him during
yeah, a little bit. Like he was in as an alternate. He finished 5th. The guy who actually finished 1st in the welterweights got he couldn't compete, so Sabudusai got in as an alternate. But yeah, Magomed looked damn impressive, even though it was a tough fight. He did look impressive. And then in the other semi-final, Ray Cooper III, I call that one.
You did.
This sets up a rematch that's 3 years in the making, because the only guy to beat Ray Cooper III in his PFL career is Magomed Karamov in the 2018 final.
That was the one he won for the million.
Exactly. Yeah. So they've both won one tournament now, out of the two that have been on so far. So
some fantastic stories coming out of PFL, even just from the PFL reign itself. Like they're creating their own stories now. That's awesome. Like,
and having two champions competing to the first one to get two.
It's the equivalent of a super fight. Like it's the equivalent of a champ fight for PFL.
It's massive.
And the fact they're big marquee signings, so like ex-UFC fighters and all that, you think like the ex-UFC fighters will go into a new organisation, a smaller one, and smash up, but they're not.
And I mean, take Rory. Rory is an ex-UFC title challenger, ex-Bellator champion. I mean, there isn't more credentialed in the sport to go to an organisation like that. And with 2 losses now, I know one of them was very suspect to Gleason Tebow.
Yeah.
But he didn't end up getting to the finals, so...
But it just shows how the PFL talent that they have as well, like their own little homegrown stuff is good too. Like
very, very good. And the lightweights were on as well. They were all right fights in the lightweights division. Like Radjabov looked more impressive, I think, than Roche Manfio looked in his semi-final. But this is the Loic I can't even fucking say his name. But Loic versus Alex Martinez was another rematch from previous season, and Alex Martinez had beat him the first time, and he actually beat him. He got out wrestled, but he was more active off his back, and that's how he ended up getting the decision in that one. He spent most of the fight on his back, but he was throwing up submissions and landing strikes.
I want to say the heavyweights is next week now, no? Or is it
so you have the women and the heavyweights, I think, next week. And of course, you have, what's her name? Why do I keep forgetting her fucking name? Kayla Harrison. Who was one of the big PFL stars.
And then the week after them, we have lightweights.
Featherweights and light heavyweights.
Yeah. Who's in light heavyweight? Any big names there?
2 good divisions again. I can't think off the top of my head. If you go to PFL here, and it should be the PFL 9. Yeah, so Emiliano Sordi has looked damn impressive. He's gone up against Shoeface, Antonio Carlos Jr.
Oh, fuck.
And then you have Mutante Cesar Ferreira against Martin Hamlet. So 2 big fights as well in that. Which, I mean, the fights have been phenomenal in it. And you would think when they get to the quarterfinals, I know there was a lot of decisions in the quarterfinals, but you would think that because you get more points for finish, that the pace would slow down a little bit when you get to this point, but it didn't at all. The talent has obviously risen to the top, and they were very competitive fights. They were very good to watch.
Mad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to check the comment section, see if anybody's still with us.
That's on again next week. So the women are on this week coming.
Obscene feats or obscene vids. Pat, what was Miami like? Did you get to spend much time there after your fight?
Yeah, so I kind of, Miami was crazy. I stayed on 10 days after. Me and Ethan, we got an apartment on South Beach, so
As you do.
As you do, like.
I heard a story about Ethan getting denied by a load of girls. No,
Look here, what happens in Miami stays in Miami. But I know you're, but I ain't no rat.
he's just a bit too small for the girls. He is, little Hezbollah.
Sure, look, he tried anyway, you know.
God loves the trier.
Greg is saying, do you know what type of money PFL fighters are getting paid? And it seems to be a big discussion nowadays, and where fighters want to go, for example, BKFC. Yeah, so money is always is always some, like, I mean, you only turn professional to make money. Let's be honest about it. So if you're not getting paid, you need to be doing a bit more marketing or whatever. But yeah, PFL are paid a salary, as far as I know. You may know more about this, Paul.
It's monthly, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's a weird payment structure. They pay in what you get paid for a fight. You get paid monthly, but like if you fight in your first fight and then you're injured for the second fight, you might not get paid for those months as much. Kind of, do you know what I mean? You get it's subsidized throughout the year, by the amount of times you're fighting, but it is paid over the whole year. And then of course you have the nugget of the 100,000, but there's no, as far as I'm aware, there's no show money, win money. You're paid what you're paid for each fight. It's spread across the year. It's decent enough money from what I'm told. It would be kind of they're up there almost competing with UFC, Bellator. Like there'd be a lot more than a lot of the regional shows would be paying. Yeah. So it's decent money, and you have that.
Million.
4 fights could get you £1 million. So I mean that's the big draw for them.
Yep.
I only noticed it the other day when it was disclosed for the Bellator before the last
the one that Kiefer was on.
Yeah. Some of the fighters didn't get win money at all, but their show money was way more though.
Yeah, so Kiefer got 50 grand.
Straight up, yeah.
Whether he won or lost, it didn't matter whether he won or lost.
Karen Moore was 25 and 25, was it?
So Brian Moore was 25, yeah.
So he had to win to get the same.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But that again, that's down to your management and kind
discussions
of
and stuff, and
negotiations. Everyone's going to have a different deal on the table.
But then how much of a draw you are as well, then, like whether you win or you lose your fight.
And
what
that's
happened with Kiefer? That like, why did he split with? Did he get like dropped or did he?
So it's his second loss in a row now. So I don't know whether whether that was his last.
The first loss was
a cut. Bit of a weird one, like.
I believe it's technically his third loss with the promotion. So he's 1-4 in his last, or 1-3 in his last 4. One of them was a disqualification.
That was in Kansas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One was a cut. So the two of them were a little bit up in the air, and that's the reason he was saying he still felt undefeated.
Yeah.
And then there's the latest one where he just got beaten.
It's probably down to them cutting a lot of the European fighters as well and that, like.
Yeah, and that's a big part of it.
Because they're re-signing a lot of guys now, like, because obviously they have the show now and that's been announced in London. So they've announced loads of new fighters. Like, I know Yannick Bahi was cut.
Bahadi, yeah.
And now he's back.
Yeah.
And he's fighting Luke Trainer.
And there'll be more of that over the coming months. But it's noticeable this year that Bellator have cut back their roster an awful lot. And I think they're going to work on developing some youth like they've done over the last few years anyway. I don't think there'll be any marquee signings for the next couple of years, as in crossover from different promotions.
Yeah.
And then they'll sign back some guys who've gone away from the promotion for whatever reason, picked up a couple of wins, and then they'll come back. So I'd say that'll be the structure going forward.
What do you make of Chandler versus Gaethje maybe being in the works?
That's pretty much done, no, I thought.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I said it from day one when they were touting about this fight that it's the wrong fight to make. Like, I know on paper it looks like a fantastic fight, but all the guys in the top 5 have kind of held a monopoly in those positions for too long now. There's too many, like Beneil Dariush is after getting up there finally. You've Islam Makhachev is after coming into number 5 now. So there is a little bit of a changing of the guard. But it was matchups like this when I was originally talking about it. I wasn't too keen on them because it was keeping other guys out. Both guys coming off a loss should be fighting down, not fighting other guys in the top 5. That's just my opinion. I would like to see Chandler versus Makhachev and Gaethje versus Beneil Dariush, like, from my opinion, giving the other guys a chance at getting a crack at the belt.
And who do you think would give Usman the most trouble?
That's an easy one for me anyway. Who do you think, boys?
You've talked enough about this now, Liam.
No, who do you say?
Mr. Hamzat Chimaev, clearly.
The button has been used in a while as well.
No,
he tells me to throw it on every week.
We're doing the Pro Mma the whole time and he wants to use it.
No.
But he can't press it himself. What were you saying as well? You can't Barry White yourself.
I can't Barry White myself. No, that'd be creepy as all hell. my
Also,
little
the
my
two of us
week,
are own as well.
my little weekly love note to Mr. Hamza Chimaev. Yeah. So who do you think in that welterweight division gives Usman problems, or is there anyone now that gives him problems?
I think he's too good, boy. He's
Yeah.
too good. Too fucking good.
Well, put it this way: Luque just picked up a massive victory. Do you think he's a guy that could go up there and challenge him?
Luque,
Vicente Luque?
man, I've had my hit of my. I've been focusing on my own fight, so that's all. I haven't been watching nothing.
Who's this Vicente Luque you speak of? Look, I think he's a possibility. I don't know. Like
No,
you
not
were
at all,
saying
not
for
at all.
how long that Stephen Thompson was the guy, but
Yeah, I still think Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is the worst stylistic matchup for Usman. But
But would you not think then?
at
Would you
his
think the
age,
Burns
coming
fight
off
then
a
is a
loss.
replay? That no, because Burns is pretty much Burns is a shitter version of Usman, really. Like
Yeah.
no, I know.
And-
But I have no more to add. I still think
you still think it's Thompson.
Still
Do you not
think
think Vicente has any chance? So we're all writing off Vicente.
yeah, I am. Yeah. I
don't know.
don't think he has that to get up there. Do you know? I think he maybe fights who's up there next, like who's just above. Let's say Vicente now.
You've Gilbert Burns. You have
He loses against Burns.
Leon Edwards.
Loses against Edwards too.
He,
Edwards
he
there.
already
Edwards,
he already has been beat by Edwards.
oh yeah, shit.
Yeah, look, I get what you're saying, but I think Usman is going to fight Colby, and then he's going to look to fight someone. It'll either be Edwards or Luque next. I think Luque could get the nod.
I think Edwards gets a nod. No,
I think he wants Edwards to fight again because let's be fair, Edwards has fought nobody. I know he's on.
but Edwards has really unlucky streak as well, though.
Yeah, that's fair, but I just think Vicente Luque will be the guy that'll get the nod personally.
these are the current rankings here. So Colby,
Is next. We know that.
Burns
I have
can't
no
get.
interest in that.
Yeah, Burns can't get her a shot this close. Like
No. So it's between those two guys, really. There's no like if you move down the division, coming off a loss. I mean, you're hoping that Hamza puts on a show and gets a crack at the top contender.
Hamza is confirmed to fight soon.
Yeah,
isn't
he's
he?
fighting Li Jingliang
Yes.
in
Soon, isn't it?
October.
Yeah.
The leech.
So the other
He's a
leech.
fucking animal, that guy.
Yeah, he's a beast.
That's because he has your nickname.
But
Who got it first though is the thing.
definitely he's about
Yeah, he's
36. Like yeah, so he's gonna have to fight a top guy next after that. So it depends.
Yeah. Have we any more to talk about?
I don't see if there's any more comments coming in. I want to know who this obscene vids is as well. What's your name, obscene vids, and how obscene are these vids?
We should actually just check out his YouTube channel. Although if I
I
click
don't
on
know.
it, we
That
might
could be
get banned off
dangerous.
YouTube ourselves.
Yeah, he'll report you and get us fucking pulled, even though he's commenting on ours.
So he says, last thing from me, Pa, at the end of your first fight, I'd say it was 2 or 3 seconds from a tap. What were you thinking when the bell rang, knowing it went to decision instead of a finish?
I was annoyed, like, because I knew he was done, like, that was in. There was no way he was getting out of that. Yeah. I knew I won because
Yeah.
I did. He literally didn't. I don't think he landed one punch on me the whole fight, like one strike on me.
Yeah.
From what I remember. But yeah, he just held me down for a bit of the round, and he got one submission attempt, and then I did all the damage and got that really close choke at the end. So I knew straight away when the bell went, I won. So
Yeah. How close was his choke? Was it on?
no.
Yeah.
But I was lying when he kind of turned me onto my side when he had it. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not getting tapped out on live TV in Ireland now, and the old doll is watching. I can't be letting that happen. So I was like, right, gotta get out
Love
of
the
this
thought
one.
process. Like,
Yeah. Smacked him in the stomach a few times and pulled my arm out.
love it.
What else did he say? Did you know you had it in the bag? Yeah, so that was a continuation on from that one. Quilch the Bar, what's happening with the Combate? So is Pa repping Ireland in that still? So Quilcha, the way that works is that it's actually, well, not confirmed as of yet, but very likely it's going to be a bantamweight tournament as opposed to a lightweight tournament. So Pa has won the opportunity for an Irish athlete to represent in that tournament, and they're going through the list of different athletes that are free agents at the moment, and they're going to maybe have a look at a couple of different athletes there and see how they're fixed. As of yet, they have still not 100% committed to the bantamweight division. There is talk of possibly it being at featherweight. If that was the case, then Mr. Lihan is back in. But the problem there is, and you said this to me, Pat, what was the problem there?
I think they just didn't have enough. They didn't have enough people from the countries that were like representing.
They're normally represented, yeah.
So I think they just have way more bantamweights or whatever, so they can fill it up. But
So what's the story with that Copa thing? You have to win a show on Combate to get a spot on it.
No, they generally, for the last few years, they've had their set number of countries. So Spain have represented Europe for the last few years in it, because obviously Spanish-speaking promotion, they were kind of the natural choice. And they've had a market coming from Spain for a while anyway. And then you have a lot of the South American countries are represented. You Chile, Mexico, list goes on and on. I'm not going to fucking name them all. I can't anyway. And you have America.
Geography's like your strongest.
Yeah, exactly. You have America. Some of the North American countries are represented. So they kind of had a set list of countries. And Campbell was saying that the reason he put on this European tournament because Spain haven't been well represented the last few years, so he wanted to give some other countries a chance. And he said whoever kind of picked up the victory in that one was going to get there.
Yeah, so France won, they would have got a bantamweight.
Yeah.
Pan one, so good Irish bantamweight.
Yeah. So opening doors for Ireland.
So anybody in the comment section, do you want to list out some bantamweights that possibly might be good options for Ireland to represent?
Mm-hmm.
So
Quilty Dabara asking about your tattoo of Rex as well. Give us an old flash there.
Yeah, dude. Shout to fucking for getting it right as well. Rocked in there, pal was like, "Oh, look at the stormtrooper on your leg there."
To be fair, I thought the exact same
College
thing.
Road or something. Why is it all? It's all wonky, is it?
No, it still has to be done, you spastic.
I'll be honest, Ryan. I thought it was a fucking stormtrooper when I first saw it as well.
Yeah, you were lucky you didn't get a bacon when you mentioned that as well. You saw my face.
Uneducated.
Yeah, fucking hell.
So any comments there who want to nominate a bantamweight from Ireland to represent Ireland at Copa Combate? Who do you have?
Quilty definitely has a couple of shouts there for that. He'd know.
Yeah,
he'd know a few names.
So Pa, have you any suggestions?
See, I don't know who's like signed to contracts or with companies or whatever, but I was saying Blaine O'Driscoll because I think he's just like he's been around for a good while. He's good and he's a sound fiend. He's a good fighter. I think he deserves. And did he re-sign with someone?
I think he signed the Brave. No.
Yeah, I think he signed the Brave. Yeah.
Well,
You see, it's a tricky one. Most of the big bantamweights from here are signed.
Yeah, so you got Brian Moore and James Gallagher, the other two from SBG as well. And then
they're both Bellator signed. You have Franz is currently competing with EFN and signed a multi-fight deal with them. So you moving down a little bit from there. Like I don't know, there's a few around that aren't actually signed to promotions, but
yeah. Well, you've got Quaden Lochran who fought on the same show as Hulk over, and he's 4-0, fighting out of Cabon. So he's an option. Fights in a tricolour shirt, so they love that.
Yeah.
Red hair. You've also got in Cork. You've got Jack Maguire.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I never thought of him.
But again,
Jack's a featherweight, no?
But is he
bantamweight?
When was the last time he fought cage?
Last year.
Last year, yeah.
Jack's issue was back
June
right
last
now.
year.
What's his story? What's his record now at pro?
1-1.
1-1 at the moment. Yep.
Yeah.
1-1.
And then you have Kieran Mulholland just picked up a win, also a bantamweight
on the show. Kerry and
Cage Conflict this
And
weekend. So
Jason Kearns.
he's 2-2. Yeah, Jason Kearns is
Jason's
2-0.
bantamweight as well.
Yeah.
Is he 2-0 now?
1-0.
1-0.
Yeah.
From Dubai.
Yeah,
He's a
another
Wexford man.
Wexford. Yeah, sorry. I was gonna accuse him of being a Wicklow man.
He wouldn't like that.
He was in Bray Moore's corner for Bellator.
He was indeed. Yeah.
So nobody in the comment section anyway. I'm not going to ask any more questions now. I feel left out.
They've bailed on us. Quilty clearly doesn't have any suggestions for bantamweight either. But there's definitely a few names there. Look, if it goes ahead of bantamweight, I'm sure we'll be well represented. If it goes ahead of featherweight, we know there's a man here that'll step up for it. So should be a good one. And I'm sure, by the way, you were saying about the featherweights, they have a lot of featherweights. They're not signed to Combate is the thing.
Yeah.
But I imagine they could get a lot of featherweights on board. If
It could be done. Like if they really wanted to do it, they could do it. So
yeah.
Henry Corrigan 1-0 as well. Actually, is he fighting out of IFS or FAI? Is he?
I recognize the name. Yeah.
Yeah, FAI as far as I know.
Yeah. It was a lot of good lads on that Cage Conflict card this weekend. Actually, we should probably talk about that as a little bit as well.
Yeah, phenomenal card. Tell me, like I didn't get to experience the venue itself. I'd say it was surreal experience.
So Pa has a little fan there, Harry Cairns. Pa is a legend with a love heart.
Yo.
So there you go.
But I'd say it was a surreal experience, that cage conflict, that kind of style, being on a stage. Very
it was
different
mad.
to what we're used
So
to.
it was like being at a rock festival.
Yeah.
So it was like a field full of chairs. People were pissed and stoned off their face. There was thousands of them there.
Yeah.
It was like being at Glastonbury now, or kind of Electric Picnic or something like that. It was an actual stage, as in like a rock festival stage, and then they just plunked the cage right in the middle of that
with 2 huge screens for everyone to see.
Yeah, there was a big screen there. You know, in the middle of the day when the sun was out, it was hard to see the screen.
Oh, was it?
So that was a little bit of an issue, but I mean, you know, you can't have it every way. I mean, the fact that they had it outdoor arena meant that they could have the crowd. So that was the first time that I would have experienced a crowd at a show for a couple of years. You know, so that was
there was
that
a bit of a
good.
crowd at the Amsterdam show, wasn't there? At all?
Well,
there
yeah,
was like 20, 30 people there.
yeah. But it wasn't like this, like the hundreds of people screaming and drunk crowds. And now at this time, this particular one, now people were so stoned that when fights ended, there was pints going into the air and everything. Like, it was mad. It was fights all over the gaff. So didn't miss that part of it. But
so there wasn't just 35 fights, which is already a lot of fights on a fight card. There wasn't just 35 fights at it.
There was a few novice fights as well. Yeah, there was a few novice fights and a few
bare knuckle jobs outside.
Yeah, exactly. And the production was great. Liam Shannon and the FAA boys pulled it together really, really well. The fighter experience was brilliant. So normally, you know, like the lads will tell you all about like warm up rooms or hit and miss there at different kind of events. Like sometimes you'd be like your first fight. What was it like up in?
What show was that? What was that called again?
I can't remember what the name of the show was. Declan Kennett's crew was involved in it anyway.
It was out of one, the gym or something. It was in a gym, and we literally warming up at the toilet, and the toilet got someone to go big shit in the toilet.
Like it wasn't just the toilet; it was the toilet.
Yeah.
It was the toilet for the entire crowd and all of the fighters and coaches for the event.
So someone took a shit inside there and clogged the toilet, so then it overfilled onto the floor. So you have to walk. We were in like a little locker room next toilet, but there was no doors anywhere. So you literally had to walk through shit to get out to the cage.
Not ideal.
Not great at all.
Have you had any dodgy experiences with changing rooms?
Me, not really, but I remember when the boys were fighting on one of the. Do you remember Kevin was fighting kickboxing with the trial show?
Yeah.
We warmed up in a bathroom as well. It was the bathroom. There was like a urinal, and there was just piss all over the floor, and there was no mats, and you just couldn't warm up in there. Like
we warmed up in a kitchen with a leash for one of Muay Thai show one time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had to walk through like a hotel kitchen. It was mad. It was absolutely mad. Like literally, they were still serving food, and we were they were serving food in the restaurant, and we were warming up while they were cutting veg.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good one as well.
And, like there's a smell of Thai oil in there now and everything. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Like
we've had some good ones. Well, like that show in Dubai, we were in an ensuite looking out onto the racetrack and shit. Like
yeah.
We've had some cool ones.
No, it's hit and miss, but definitely for this show, what they had like a community hall where you got your hands wrapped. You did your initial warm up, loads of mats, plenty of space, and like literally you could. Like it was a football pitch, like it was, or like an indoor soccer pitch, right?
Yeah.
So it was a huge amount of space. And then what they did then was they when you were 3 fights away from your fight, they put you into a shuttle cab and shuttled you to the next building, and then they put you into a porta cabin, and you had your own porta cabin to yourself with a load of mats on the floor. And that was when you had, we say, maybe 1 or 2 fights before you walked out. So you were there for maybe 20 minutes to a half an hour. Yeah. And then from there, then it was like maybe a 2-minute walk to the stage, and you up onto the stage out in front of all the fans and everything like that. So as a fighter experience, it was phenomenal. The medics were very, very good. They were on point. The hand wrappers were there. Everything, like from a fighter point of view, it was a pleasure to be on. From cornering as well. And I see now the fights are actually going up on YouTube from Fight Store Media at the moment as well. So
very good.
I think the lads are all going to be able to watch back their fights properly, you know.
But certainly a unique vantage point as well for the fighters when they do walk out, because generally you're in the light looking out to darkness at a room. Yeah. Whereas in this you were in the light, but you were looking out at mostly a big kind of arena where it was lit. It was well lit. You were kind of looking out at the big crowd.
The thing about Belfast as well is I didn't know this, but Belfast is at the foot of a huge mountain. So it's almost like South Africa where you have Table Mountain right there. You know, you have the city and then there's a huge mountain, and like the sun was setting over the top of the mountain overlooking it was mad. Like I think Kerry has some really nice photographs of looking from the cage out. There's like 1,000 people spectating, and then the mountain, and then the sunset over the back of it. It was really picturesque. Like,
how long did the event run for? Because 35 fights is a lot of fights.
Yeah. So first fight was at 3 p.m. Went on to midnight.
Ooh, that's a long day.
And there was one lad that actually didn't make it to the cage. Did you see that? I think it was a Francis O'Brien. I think.
Oh, it was shit the pants. It was.
What happened there, bro?
I thought it was a piss take.
No, I don't know what happened, but yeah, he didn't make it to the cage, and the official results went out, and he said that he lost by shit the pants.
Ah, stop.
So
he put that out himself.
No. That's what FAI put out. On the official cage conflict page. That's the official result.
Ooh.
That's rough, isn't it?
I thought it was a piss take.
No, that's rough.
Someone put into our group chat, I thought it was an absolute piss take.
No.
Yeah, I don't.
There's
That's crossing a line a little bit.
Yeah,
well,
it definitely is.
Do you know, we don't know what was going through Francis's head on. Like, I actually met him in the change room beforehand. He looked fine to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened. Whether there was a family emergency or his corner didn't show up or something. But although they were there, I think. I don't know. I don't know what happened. But yeah, it was the lads from FAI didn't have any mercy on him anyway.
Yeah,
but,
just a couple of questions coming in there as well.
Right. Okay. So Kevin O'Sullivan, actually Kevin, or the man who designed our set. Kev, we got a new TV. What you reckon of the new TV?
It's a bit off, I think.
It's not a bit off. Your eyesight is off. That's what's off. Your eyesight is off, right? So Kevin, what you reckon? So Kevin actually helped me corner Kerry, because Kevin has a point sparring kickboxing background, has experience with that whole
Sean O'Bannon style. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So Kevin did a great job in the corner with me there. Harry Cairns, it'll be all worth it when you headline the 3 Arena.
Is he talking to me and you or the two boys?
Yeah, obviously me and you. Yeah.
Fuck the 3 Arena, Park and Queeve.
So, out of sight, any advice from Pat or Ryan for someone starting out in MMA hoping to eventually compete in the amateur league?
Just fucking start. Don't be waiting around, because it's a tough thing to get. If you actually want, everyone should do it. Like, at least jiu-jitsu. But if you actually want to compete in MMA, don't be waiting around, because it's a tough sport to do well in. Because
you'll get to my age, 32, and decide you're going to give it a go and get beaten the shit out of you. Yeah.
Twice.
Yeah. I was happy enough to just leave it at once, but we might as well be honest about
it. You say it enough times.
So he's asking, is there any aspects to focus on at the start? You mentioned
just get into training and just train.
Yeah.
So I mean, like just something that you said there, Pat, just start, because I mean it's one of the sayings that I've tried to kind of go on over the last few years is constant improvement is better than delayed perfection. So I'd be a bit of like a procrastinator when it comes to doing stuff unless it's absolutely perfect, and I think a lot of people have that in their head as well when they're thinking about an MMA career, and they don't want to ever lose. So they keep training and training and training so that I'm gonna beat everybody they ever fight. And suddenly you realise that you're into their 30s and you haven't fought yet.
Careful now.
So
Liam, you're in your 40s.
I'm in my 40s. So again, that delayed.
In a minute now if you're not careful.
Yeah. So that delayed perfection, you could end up not ever achieving what you want to achieve. So just get in there, throw shit at the wall, see what sticks, and you can improve on everything incrementally as you go. And the two boys facing us here are a testament to that, and they've had their fair share of upsets in their amateur career, and look at them now competing against pros and doing very well. So, and
have fun with it.
Yep,
that's the big thing. Like for me as well, I never came into a gym because I felt like I look like this. Why the fuck would I be going to an MMA gym? But when I came in here, I had a whale coming in here and training and learning new things every day, and getting punched in the face as well. But that's all a part of it. Like
Harry Cairns, would you rather be knocked out or lose by shit pants?
Knocked out.
Knocked out. Yeah, fucking.
There are a couple of cases in the UFC, and it's 2 girls as well that have shit their pants in the UFC.
That's actually shit in the pants, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, sorry.
Didn't James Gallagher have one as well, where he was literally in the cage and your man, before they touched gloves, just tapped the floor and walked out?
Yeah.
Didn't see
It
that.
was something like that. I think it was one of James's last amateurs or something like that.
Fuck.
I remember it was I think it was Evolve or Chaos. It was one of those shows up in Northern Ireland.
Shit.
And
One
he,
run by Jason McCabe, yeah.
yeah, and he literally fought in the show and literally both in the corners announcing, and your man just taps the floor.
That's
When
mad.
you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yeah, you see, it's that.
That's
do
definitely
you,
shit the pants.
do you want to be in a room full of people and actually shit your pants, or
There is a video of a guy.
take the
There's a
loss?
there's a heavyweight.
Take the loss and fuck on.
Yeah. Go on.
There's a
is-
heavyweight that gets choked or they get punched or something, and you can actually see it fall out.
Yeah. It trickles down his leg, and there's like little, and the referee starts holding his mouth, and he's kind of like he's reaching his own. Whoop.
Surely it's the ref's responsibility to call that fight straight away.
Well, we can ask Derek here now, if someone actually shits the pants in a fight, what to do?
You 100% call it
Call
for the
the
safety
doctor,
of
man.
both
Call
fighters.
the doctor.
What's the doctor gonna do?
don't know, I'll do
Prescribe
something.
a constipation or
You caught the cleaners there.
Is there anything that cunt can do to tighten his sphincter muscle there? Any exercise you can give him, fucking hell.
Kevin O'Sullivan confirms that the screen is perfectly centered, right?
No,
There you go,
Kev,
Kev.
when you come in there now, you'll see it. They're after changing the camera angle there a bit slightly, so it looks better. But
It's perfect. All I did was hold it up, and I'm like taking fucking credit for it.
oh,
So I think that's it. What have we got next week? What is on next week? There's loads of cards on. again.
UFC, you have Kevin Gastelum and Jared Cannonier.
Cannonier.
Close enough.
There we go.
You have Bellator is on next week.
Who is it?
You have
It's the girls. No, it's the
No,
the
you've-
Hawaiian girl. No,
what's his name? The fuck, it's not going to come to me now.
If only we had a computer or something that we could check it.
Yeah.
So you've got-
that's the arrow there.
Yeah.
I think it's too light heavy.
one
No.
championship.
You're going to have to look up Bellator Tapology because you could be going through 100 cards here. Yeah, so you have LFA Invicta,
We'll
UFC
go back
Fight
now
Night.
because we're on a few weeks ahead there now. Yeah, go back the other way now.
Bellator 265.
Ah, yes. Oh, check
Check
Congo
Congo.
and Sergey Kartonov.
Heavyweights. Will do's. And JJ Wilson's against Adam Boric, which was they've announced is a number one contender fight for AJ McKee as well. So that's a phenomenal fight. I think it might be a little bit too soon for JJ Wilson.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
But Adam Boric isn't a bad matchup for him. I just think to be going for the belt so soon is tough. You have Baby Slices back.
Marcel Mgom, I know that name from somewhere as well.
Yeah. There's some decent fights on.
Lord of the Rings, no?
Call him.
No, maybe not.
And you also have PFL is on next week as well. So there's kind of cards in every promotion. Combate Global have a card next week. So there's
Well, Combate Global are every week now, so
almost every week. Yeah, I think there's been a couple of weeks off in the last 12 weeks or so. But yeah, every promotion, one of the bigger promotions, has a card on this week. So lots to look out for.
So there you go, guys. Have we any more comments? I'm absent Russia this week, of course. Marlene getting in there.
Win by SKO. Yeah.
Anyway, so is that it? That our show?
That's it, I
so
think.
now.
Okay. Well, how are we going to find you, lads? How are we going to find you? Let's give a shout out. Yeah, you have to give your sponsors a shout out anyway. So, what have we got for you?
Why don't you go first?
You can find me at Ryan Spillane MMA on Instagram and Twitter, and Ryan Hulk Spillane on Facebook. And shout out to my sponsors.
They're all on your Instagram, of course.
Yeah.
Pad, do you want to do any better than that?
Good, man. Yeah, you gotta give names.
I'll do better than you anyway. Come on.
All right, so I've had a couple of all right. So you can find me on Instagram at Palihan, Facebook Palihan MMA, and shout out to my sponsors. I've got a big online betting sponsor that came on board recently. They're called LuckyFox.com. If you go in and sign up, throw in your name and your email, you can get a chance to win 100 free bets and tickets to my next local fight. So that's my biggest one.
Can you bet on your fights?
I actually I
Yeah,
have
so
to
you
look
will
into
you
that
will be able to bet
eventually.
in September.
Yeah, they haven't actually launched it yet. So
But are they launching? Because I know they're launching a casino. Are they launching a sports book as well with that?
Yeah, they
Oh,
are,
brilliant! Yeah. So the 100 free bets will be well used. So
Oh yeah.
100%. I've already got mine.
happy fucking
I
days.
signed up
Sure.
for it.
Yeah, I signed up to it already. But do you get your 100 free bets and all straight away?
I have no idea. I
Excellent stuff.
I was just going to say.
Oh, it's a chance to win 100 free bets.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sorry.
With our bets the week every week, we
Yeah, I
win
know.
no fucking money.
Yeah, I need that fucking. I need those free bets. LuckyFox.com hit me up there because I'm throwing away money every week.
Yeah, fucking Ever Cummins by submission.
I didn't put them on any of my bets. As much as I said it was my bet of the week, I bailed out when it actually came to putting fucking money on it. Be sure and go over and follow us on Facebook if you're not watching on Facebook, on the MMA Opinion. And if you're watching on Facebook, go over to YouTube and subscribe on that Guts and Glory MMA.
That's it, guys. That's been our show. Tune in next week. We'll talk to you then.
I want to fight with Chuck. Chuck.
I think he just blew his wad there.
Anderson Silva, you absolute